Welcome back to the channel. Today, we're uncovering a hidden world where tiny crops can be worth more than gold. Trust me, some of these treasures will surprise you. For thousands of years, people have chased one thing: gold. Kings wanted it. Empires fought for it. Ships crossed dangerous oceans searching for it. Some men spent their entire lives hoping to find just a little more. Gold became a symbol of power. A symbol of wealth. A symbol of success. And even today, when people think about treasure, gold is usually the first thing that comes to mind. But what if we've been looking in the wrong place? What if some of the world's most valuable treasures are not hidden inside mountains? What if they are growing in fields? Right now, in remote parts of the world, farmers wake up before sunrise and care for crops so rare, so difficult to produce, that they can be worth more than gold itself. Not diamonds. Not oil. Plants. Tiny crops that most people have never seen. Some grow for years before they can be harvested. Some survive only in very specific climates. And some are so valuable that a single bad season can destroy a farmer's future. Gold built kingdoms. But some farmers are quietly growing something even more valuable. And the strangest part? Most people have never heard of it. So what are these crops? Why are people willing to pay such unbelievable prices for them? And how do ordinary farmers grow treasures that the world cannot get enough of? The answers take us into one of the most surprising industries on Earth. A world of patience, risk, and incredible rewards. Because among all these hidden treasures, one tiny flower would take value to a level few people could believe. And its story begins with just 3 delicate red strands. The treasure hidden behind those 3 red strands has a name: saffron. At first glance, it doesn't look special. It comes from a small purple flower. A flower so ordinary looking that most people would walk past it without a second thought. But inside that flower are 3 tiny red threads. And those threads are worth a fortune. For centuries, saffron has been prized by kings, merchants, and chefs. It has colored royal meals, traveled along ancient trade routes, and built livelihoods for generations of farmers. But its value comes from one simple fact: there is no easy way to harvest it. Every strand must be picked by hand. No machine can do it properly. No shortcut exists. Farmers move carefully from flower to flower. They bend down thousands of times. Hour after hour. Day after day. One mistake can ruin hours of work. And the flowers do not wait. They bloom for only a short time before they begin to fade. That means farmers are racing against the clock every harvest season. The numbers are almost unbelievable. Thousands of flowers are needed to produce just a small amount of saffron. An entire field can result in only a handful of those precious red strands. Yet demand keeps growing. Restaurants want it. Food companies want it. Luxury buyers want it. And because supply remains limited, prices continue to climb. The result is a crop that can be worth more than gold by weight. All from a flower small enough to fit in the palm of your hand. It sounds impossible. Until you see the work behind every strand. But as remarkable as saffron is, it was not the crop that changed the world the most. Because far away, another flower was quietly creating an empire of its own. And its story would reshape global trade forever. If saffron proved that rarity creates value, vanilla proved something even more powerful. Obsession. Today, vanilla is everywhere. It's in ice cream, chocolate, cakes, drinks, and thousands of products people use every single day. The world fell in love with vanilla. But growing it would prove far harder than anyone expected. Vanilla comes from a climbing orchid. Unlike most crops, it cannot simply be planted and forgotten. For a long time, vanilla could only grow naturally in a few places. Even when farmers tried growing it elsewhere, something was missing. The flowers would bloom, but no vanilla beans would appear. The reason was simple. The flower needed help. Each bloom opens for only a few hours. If it is not pollinated during that short window, the chance is gone. An entire year of waiting can end in a single day. So farmers learn to do the impossible. One flower at a time. One touch at a time. By hand. Every morning during flowering season becomes a race. The clock starts ticking as soon as the flowers open. Farmers move quickly through the fields. Missing even a few flowers means losing future income. And after all that work, there is still no guarantee. Storms can destroy harvests. Disease can spread through farms. Prices can rise overnight. Then crash just as fast. One year, farmers celebrate. The next, they struggle to survive. Yet the world keeps demanding more. Because once people fell in love with vanilla, there was no turning back. Its story became a reminder of how fragile fortune can be. A crop worth thousands today can become a challenge tomorrow. But while vanilla grew above ground, climbing toward the sun, another treasure was hiding in complete darkness. Buried beneath the soil. Waiting for those who knew how to find it. By now, it might seem like all valuable crops have one thing in common. They grow in plain sight. Fields. Flowers. Vines. But the next treasure follows a completely different rule. You can't see it growing. You can't walk through a field and spot it. And finding it can feel more like searching for buried treasure than farming. This is the world of truffles. Truffles grow underground. Hidden among the roots of certain trees. For years, sometimes even decades, they remain invisible. Waiting. That mystery is part of what makes them so valuable. Some people spend years searching for a single truffle. And when they find one, it can be worth a fortune. But finding them is not easy. Humans cannot simply look at the ground and know where a truffle is hiding. Instead, truffle hunters rely on something else. Dogs. Specially trained dogs can smell what humans cannot. They move quietly through forests, searching for a scent buried beneath the soil. Then suddenly, they stop. The dog has found something. A small treasure hidden underground. Sometimes worth hundreds. Sometimes thousands. And in rare cases, much more. The finest truffles end up in luxury restaurants. Chefs compete to buy them. Wealthy customers pay extraordinary prices to experience their unique flavor. For some, a single truffle becomes the centerpiece of an entire meal. What began as a hidden fungus beneath a tree becomes a symbol of luxury around the world. It sounds unbelievable. A treasure buried in the dirt. A treasure that people hunt with dogs. A treasure worth more than many people's monthly income. But even truffles weren't the rarest crop on our list. Because the next one is so uncommon that most people believe they've tasted it. When in reality, they probably never have. If truffles showed us that treasure can hide beneath the ground, the next crop reveals something even stranger. Sometimes the rarest treasure is hiding in plain sight. Most people think they've tasted wasabi. Most people haven't. The green paste served with sushi around the world is usually not real wasabi. In many cases, it's a mixture of other ingredients made to look and taste similar. Real wasabi is something completely different. And that's because growing it is incredibly difficult. Unlike many crops, wasabi refuses to grow just anywhere. It demands very specific conditions. Clean flowing water. Cool temperatures. The right amount of shade. Too much heat can damage it. Too much cold can harm it. Even small changes can ruin years of work. For farmers, patience becomes everything. A wasabi plant grows slowly. Very slowly. While other crops can be harvested within months, real wasabi often requires years of careful attention. Years of waiting. Years of risk. Years without knowing if the final harvest will succeed. And when harvest day finally arrives, the reward is often surprisingly small. Tiny harvests. Tiny supply. But enormous demand. Top restaurants are willing to pay premium prices for authentic wasabi. Chefs search for it. Food lovers seek it out. And because so little reaches the market, prices remain high. What looks like an ordinary green plant becomes one of the most valuable specialty crops on earth. Not because it's large. Not because it's beautiful. But because it is rare. Extremely rare. And that's when a bigger question emerges. We've seen flowers worth fortunes. Underground treasures worth thousands. Plants that take years to grow. So why do these tiny crops become worth so much money at all? The answer lies in a hidden formula that controls value itself. By now, we've seen flowers worth fortunes. We've seen treasures hidden underground. We've seen crops that take years to grow. But a question still remains. Why? Why would anyone pay so much for something so small? The answer is simpler than most people think. Value isn't created by size. It's created by scarcity. The harder something is to get, the more people are willing to pay for it. And every crop we've seen shares the same secret. There isn't enough of it. Saffron takes thousands of flowers to produce a small harvest. Vanilla demands endless patience and careful pollination. Truffles hide beneath the soil, impossible to find without help. Wasabi grows only under very specific conditions. Nature limits them all. But scarcity alone is not enough. People must want it too. And that's where demand enters the story. Luxury restaurants want the best ingredients. Food companies want unique flavors. Wealthy buyers want rare experiences. The result is a powerful combination. Limited supply. Growing demand. Rising prices. Year after year. What seems like an ordinary crop suddenly becomes a luxury product. And for the farmers who succeed, the rewards can be life-changing. A small harvest can be worth more than months of work growing ordinary crops. A single season can transform a family's future. But every reward comes with a cost. Every valuable crop carries pressure. Risk. Uncertainty. Because when your income depends on something so rare, everything has to go right. One storm. One disease. One failed harvest. And years of effort can disappear overnight. Sometimes we admire the final product and forget the people behind it. If you've ever enjoyed something rare without thinking about the hands that made it possible, you're not alone. Because for farmers, value comes with a dangerous price. And in the next chapter, we'll discover what happens when everything suddenly goes wrong. From the outside, growing valuable crops can look like a dream. High prices. Global demand. The chance to earn more from a small field than many farmers earn from large farms. But there is another side to the story. A side few people ever see. Because every harvest begins with hope. And sometimes, hope is not enough. One bad season can erase years of effort. Some farmers never recover. A saffron farmer can spend months caring for a crop, only to watch unusual weather destroy the harvest. A vanilla grower can wait years for plants to mature, only to lose everything to disease. A truffle hunter can search for months and find almost nothing. A wasabi farmer can do everything right and still lose a crop because temperatures changed at the wrong moment. That is the reality of rare agriculture. The rewards are high. But so are the risks. And unlike many businesses, farmers cannot simply start over tomorrow. Nature decides the schedule. Nature makes the rules. And nature does not care how much time or money has already been invested. Imagine working for years toward a single goal. Then waking up one morning and realizing it is gone. Not because you were careless. Not because you failed. But because of something completely beyond your control. That pain is familiar to farmers all over the world. Yet every season, they try again. They plant again. They hope again. Because giving up means losing everything they have worked for. But in some parts of the world, farmers face a threat even more frightening than weather. A threat that arrives in the dark. A threat that sees valuable crops not as food, but as easy money. And in those places, the danger doesn't come from nature. For most people, crops are food. Something you buy. Something you eat. Then you move on with your day. But when a crop becomes valuable enough, people stop seeing food. They start seeing money. And that's when problems begin. These crops became so valuable that criminals began hunting them too. In some regions, farmers wake up before sunrise and check their fields with fear. Not because of the weather. But because someone might have visited during the night. A single theft can wipe out months of work. Sometimes years. Saffron can disappear before harvest. Truffles can be secretly dug up and sold. Rare crops can move through black markets where buyers ask few questions. And where there is money, there is always someone willing to take risks. Some farmers now install cameras. Others build fences. Some even guard their fields themselves. Not because they want to. Because they have to. Imagine spending years growing something rare. Watching it every day. Protecting it from storms. Protecting it from disease. Then losing it in a single night. That fear follows many farmers through every season. And yet, the demand never stops. Luxury buyers still want the finest products. Restaurants still compete for rare ingredients. Prices continue to rise. Which means the rewards continue to grow. And so does the competition. The strange truth is that the more valuable a crop becomes, the more people want a piece of it. Some stories deserve to be remembered, especially the ones that reveal the hidden struggles behind things we often take for granted. Because behind every expensive harvest is a farmer carrying a risk most of us will never face. And despite all the risks, the failures, the thefts, the uncertainty, the search for even greater treasures continues. Because somewhere in the world, farmers and scientists believe the next crop worth a fortune is still waiting to be discovered. For centuries, farmers have searched for better harvests. Today, many are searching for something else. The next great treasure. The next crop that could change lives. The next crop that could create fortunes. Around the world, scientists are studying plants that most people have never heard of. Farmers are experimenting with new crops. Businesses are watching consumer trends closely. Everyone is asking the same question. What will people want tomorrow? Because demand is always changing. Years ago, few people imagined crops like quinoa would become global success stories. Yet today, they are sold in supermarkets around the world. That lesson changed everything. Now, people are looking for the next breakthrough. A rare fruit. A powerful spice. A unique plant with special qualities. Something that could move from obscurity to worldwide demand. The next crop worth more than gold may already exist. We just haven't discovered it yet. And that's what makes this race so exciting. Somewhere, a farmer may already be growing a future treasure without realizing it. Somewhere, a scientist may be studying a plant that could transform an entire industry. Somewhere, a tiny crop may be waiting for the right moment to capture the world's attention. That possibility keeps people searching. It keeps investors interested. It keeps farmers willing to take chances. Because every valuable crop we have seen started the same way. Unknown. Ignored. Overlooked. Then suddenly, everything changed. If you've ever wondered how many opportunities pass by unnoticed every day, you're not alone. Sometimes the greatest treasures are the ones nobody recognizes at first. But even as the future looks full of promise, a serious threat is growing. A threat that could change everything. Because the future of rare agriculture now faces its greatest challenge. For thousands of years, people searched for treasure in the same places. Deep underground. Inside mountains. At the bottom of mines. But this journey has revealed a different truth. Some of the world's most valuable treasures are alive. They grow. They bloom. They depend on the patience and dedication of ordinary people. Yet the future of these crops is uncertain. The climate is changing. Temperatures are shifting. Rainfall patterns are becoming less predictable. Some crops that have grown in the same regions for centuries are now facing conditions they were never designed to survive. For farmers, the challenge is growing every year. But so is innovation. New technology is helping farmers monitor crops more closely. Scientists are developing better ways to protect rare plants. Researchers continue searching for species that may thrive in the future. The race is no longer just about finding valuable crops. It's about protecting them. Because if these treasures disappear, they may never return. And perhaps that is the most important lesson of all. Behind every strand of saffron, every vanilla bean, every truffle, and every wasabi plant, there are people willing to risk years of their lives for something they believe in. People who wake up before sunrise. People who work without guarantees. People whose success depends on patience, hope, and a little bit of luck. The world's greatest treasures are not always found underground. Sometimes they grow quietly in a field. Sometimes they hide beneath the soil. Sometimes they wait for years before revealing their value. And somewhere, right now, another tiny crop may be waiting to change the world. A treasure nobody has noticed yet. A fortune hidden in plain sight. If this story changed the way you see farming, imagine how many other hidden stories are still waiting to be discovered. Which crop surprised you the most? And what hidden treasure do you think the world will discover next? Because the next great treasure may not be buried beneath our feet. It may already be growing above them.